Tonight, I'm very happy welcoming Lukia Costello from Buffalo, New York. How are you, Lukia?
I'm very well. How are you?
Yes, she's the founder of Micromania Film Festival in Buffalo, and this year it is the second edition, correct?
That is correct.
Yes. Okay. Tell us a little bit about yourself before shaping the idea of the festival, what you have been up to.
I'm a filmmaker, so I've created a couple different projects on my own. I have a series. We created a pilot, and I ended up cutting that down into micro short episodes. In 2019, I created a 2-minute short called Osterbiter, which I took to the Santa Fe Film Festival. And this was the catalyst for me to start the film festival, because during that experience at Santa Fe, which was really incredible, and I highly recommend it, they're very kind people, I realized that a film that was so short, up to 5 minutes in length, had little to no chance competing against a short film that's up to 44 minutes in length. So, you know, these films can be incredible, as people will see during our festival. They have the same production quality, they have a lot of impact, but you know, they need to be told in a short amount of time. And to be fair, they should be evaluated by themselves, not against longer films, because they're two different things, completely different. I would even say that micro short filmmaking is its own form of filmmaking.
Yes.
So additionally, on top of the fact that films 5 minutes and under should be judged amongst themselves, films 5 minutes and under cost less to produce, offering a great opportunity to any human being who wants to tell their own story in film.
Yes. Before I ask you something, the rest of the question, I want to tell you something about my personal experience as a programmer in selecting films in the same context you are speaking. Here in Egypt, when we have many festivals that has short film competition and long film, you know, and myself, when I'm trying to discuss with the other organizer or other colleagues, either head of the festival or programmer within the festival as well, that aesthetically, you know, you cannot compare a 5-minute short with a 10, with a 15, with 30 minutes. And as well, sometimes I consider this a mistake because sometimes they program short films, you know, like 10 to 15 to 20 minutes with medium length film, you know, less than an hour. And I say this, you know, it's not fair for filmmakers. I think it's you know, the length of the films, you know, should be close together, you know, to for the juries later to compare them properly. Correct?
Absolutely correct. And you know, there are a couple other things that come into play too. Short films of this length are not a ticket draw. You know, people are not going to festivals they're not taking their micro short films to acquire a distribution deal, right? It just doesn't exist yet. I'm working on this. And also, so they're not ticket draws, and they shouldn't be subjected to the same rules as feature length films or films that are going to attract a distribution deal. So what we're doing with our festival is we don't believe in streaming restrictions. It doesn't make sense when you're not like competing for a distribution deal. We welcome films made anytime, because it seems a shame to me that like there are all these incredible filmmakers out there who have made so much work, and a lot of their work is just sitting on a hard drive after one festival run. So why not bring those films out for people to enjoy? And then the other thing is like because films 5 minutes and under cost less to produce and more people can see them, I mean, more people can make them, it's a lower barrier to like careers in filmmaking and to production. And therefore, I'm going to start asking other film festivals to consider revising their submission fees based on time, because a micro short film should not pay $40 to submit the same amount as a feature-length film. It's just not fair, and you're making your revenue on the back of like micro short filmmakers.
Yes. I want to tell you something like maybe more than 10 years ago in Cannes Festival. You know, there is a big film market there. And I remember meeting some people who were launching like also like a short film channel or microfilm channel as well for films, for short films. But really, I think I have their business card somewhere, but I don't know if they continued or not, because at that time, the knowledge of streaming, you know, it was not the same like right now, you know, with lot and lot of streaming services here and there. But I want to ask you about your festival. Do you accept I mean, maximum 5 minutes. You accept documentaries or narrative drama films.
Yeah.
You accept video art as well. Video.
Any genre.
Ah,
We have we have, I believe, 8 categories. So drama, horror, comedy, animation, documentary, experimental, episodic, music video, and this is 9 actually, and something I call freestyle. And freestyle is not narrative, it's not documentary, and yet it's not experimental, because experimental is a very specific form. So you cannot lump music video and poetry filming
yes.
with experimental.
Mhm. Yes. And it doesn't matter which camera. I mean, because some of course filmmakers they use cameras, other use cell phones or tablets. The important is to be within the 5 minutes max, correct?
The importance for us is to be within the 5 minutes. And we also, if your film is over 5 minutes because of your credits, we allow filmmakers to submit their film without credits. And if they're accepted, we will screen the version that puts the credits back in. So we're really flexible. I really don't want, I want to be encouraging and amplifying, not impeding. That's like one of the main goals of our festival.
Yes. You know, regarding short films, you know, even before streaming channels, you know, here in Egypt, we used to have terrestrial television, then came satellite. Then the streaming started. We receive here Netflix, Amazon. There are also some local services based in Dubai, and it service the Middle East, you know, like Showtime, you know, and we have also a stars, you know, as well, a Middle East version with Arabic subtitles. So we have, you know, some many venues with the streaming service. But you know, I suggested many times, you know, to support the the makers of short films that the channels that are specialized in presenting films could use their films to be fillers, you know, between long films. But until now, the I don't see that the head of acquisition in channels, you know, are interested in this type of content. What do you think?
I think it's a shame, and I also think that it's changing. If you consider, now I'm not by any means like endorsing Quibi. I don't know if you're familiar with Quibi, but
Mhm.
Quibi is a streaming platform that just came out in like January, February. They Jeffrey Katzenberg, I think he was like former Disney executive, got
Was in,
over $1 billion.
he was one of the founders of DreamWorks.
Oh, DreamWorks. Okay.
Yeah, with Spielberg and David Geffen.
Well, that gentleman acquired over $1 billion in funding for Quibi, right?
Yeah.
But the problem with Quibi and the problem with like a lot of the thinking in Hollywood is, well, of course I understand like filmmaking is profit centric, as most things are profit centric, right? Let me just say Micromania Film Festival is a not-for-profit endeavor. That doesn't mean we don't want to make money, it's just that we put the money back in.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Quibi has made lots of mistakes. One, it's failing. My biggest like problem with Quibi, and it was created for short form content, I think about up to 10 minutes in length, is that it's the same creators, the same producers, the same talents, the same that Hollywood always ever does, not letting any new creators and any new voices in.
Mm-hmm.
So, but take that into account. The fact that 1 billion was raised for short form content is like a huge plus and says a lot to me about what's possible.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Speaking of Hollywood, let us speak about Buffalo. Tell me about the film industry there and what's going on there.
Buffalo does have a little bit of film industry here. We benefit from a generous tax rebate for filmmakers, which I think for film productions, and I believe it's like 30% at this point. So there's a certain amount that's designated for New York State productions, and then another 10%, 10 or 5% for Buffalo, New York itself. And so this comes after the production for certain, I believe, like crew expenses and that sort of things, which is very helpful. And we've had a lot of films come in from different areas, and we have like several local producers as well. I just saw an announcement maybe last week that some funders are coming in and building a huge soundstage studio, which should bring television projects here, which is great.
Very good. And my knowledge about Buffalo is very, very small. I think Silence of the Lambs is set in Buffalo and the Hannibal.
Is it?
I think so. I don't know. I should. I think it was set in one of the, the psychiatric hospital there. I think so.
Mm.
And also there was a cop show, very famous, set in Buffalo, few years ago.
Hill Street Blues?
Yeah.
I think Hill Street Blues was one of the writers, or some of the writers were from Buffalo, and a lot of the street names were similar. There have been a number of things, like the movie, most recently, I think the movie Marshall was filmed here, and a few others. I don't keep really close track, to be honest, but I love it. I'm not personally involved in those productions, but I'm happy to see them. I'm happy to see them come here. And our film commission does a lot of work trying to bring projects in.
Yes, but about the last edition of Micromania, how many films did you receive? And, and how many films you selected finally?
Last year, we received 140 submissions and we screened 38, but that was strictly because I was, working with like a 2.5 hour program.
Yes.
This time around, I initially, my idea for 2020 initially was to have a evening event, with a limited amount of films, 5 films in each category would screen, those that earned the highest ratings. And then it would also have an on-demand streaming component. So I already started out the year with that idea in mind. However, when I saw the incredible films coming in, I just could not the very idea of limiting it to so few was just like not even possible to me. So the idea then changed to be a full day free streaming event locally with an evening ticketed event of the best and the on-demand component.
Yeah.
Of course, because of what our world faces with COVID-19,
Hmm.
for safety's sake, this had to change.
Yes.
So we are now strictly streaming online. However, in March, what I realized was it seemed a shame to me that while people were looking for things to stream as people are home and looking for entertainment to fill the hours, there was a big opportunity in offering to our selected filmmakers to be included in some online streaming channels, which I started on Vimeo, on Facebook, and on Instagram TV. So the vast majority of them said yes. And in just over 3 months, we've gotten over 155,000 views. You know, and that's more views per film for each filmmaker than they could have achieved on their own, proving that micro short films do better attracting audiences in aggregate. And this just isn't possible with like long films of longer duration.
Yes. Yes. And do you think that so far this year you received a lot of films so far through Film Freeway?
This year, 250 films have come in. So
Mm,
that's like 110 more than last year,
mm,
which is wonderful. And we've accepted 126 are able to send in their assets by the deadline, which is a shame, but they're still streaming and they're still considered accepted.
yes,
So 126 films will screen during the festival. Right now on our channels, I think there may be like 160 films because I also offered this to last year's filmmakers as well.
yes. And you accept international films, not only American, correct?
I want to see work from all over the world. Brilliance is not like concentrated in one area of the world, in one culture, in one type of person. Like it's everywhere. And I want to see it.
We have here in Egypt a mobile film festival, you know, but I don't know. I hope they can send you some of their films as well, you know.
Like that.
Yeah. And tell me about the COVID situation in Buffalo. How was it during the past month for the community?
In Buffalo, New York, I think because we're in New York State and our governor was very well, I should say proactive. He wasn't completely proactive, but he got on the ball at a good time and everything's been under control. So while our hospitalizations are lower, our deaths are not huge. I mean, there's still of course a lot of loss and
Mhm.
job loss and all of
Mm.
this. But in terms of COVID, we seem to have it under control here. Everyone I see, well, almost everyone I see when I go out to the store is wearing masks and people seem to be taking it seriously, although of course, you know, there are always people who don't. And I wish them well and safety. Gosh.
Yes, yes. I hope everything will be better in the next upcoming months, you know, across the world. And did you start to watch the films you received? Any films about COVID?
Yeah. In fact, we have 7 blocks during the film festival, and one block is called In Quarantine or something like that. And I think it features about 10 films that were created in COVID.
Yeah.
In
And
quarantine.
about seeing the festival, it is accessible from all over the world as well. People can access
Yes.
it. Yes, very good. So I wish you a very successful edition, very for your efforts to help the micro filmmakers, you know, And I think you will meet a lot of newcomers, trying to shape their style, The festival could be their platform to do so.
I would love that. Like my goal, I have a couple of goals for this festival. One is to, of course, inspire appreciation and fandom for micro short films. Oh, and eventually create a platform by which filmmakers can make revenue strictly by creating micro short films on their own, or to use them as a springboard for larger careers, careers in filmmaking as a whole.
Yes, yes. And Lukia, we wish you the best of luck and keep us posted with the news of your festival. Okay?
Thank you, Sherif. I appreciate you, and I appreciate this opportunity. May you be well. May your community and your nation be well.
Thank you.
May everyone be well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.